We got a major report coming for you guys just around the corner, but I want to get you guys involved on today's video early. Predict it for me. Who will be QB1 for the Vikings next season? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video, so get loud, get active, and let me know who will be QB1 for Minnesota next year. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and we got a new report for you guys that the Vikings are reportedly exploring options to trade up for a quarterback. And let's just dive right into the quote. This was from a longtime Minnesota Vikings beat reporter, and this is Austin Arnhold, who dropped this kind of bombshell earlier today. He said the Minnesota Vikings are reportedly setting their sights on a quarterback in the upcoming NFL draft, with rumors swirling that they are exploring the possibility of trading up from their current spot at pick 11. This move follows last year's speculation that the Vikings had also considered trading up for a quarterback, but ultimately stuck with their pick at 23. And that report that he was talking about in that quote was from Brett Coleman. He's an NFL YouTuber, and he was actually on, I believe it was the Kay Adams show, talking about this. And he said the Vikings tried to trade up for Anthony Richardson last year, trading up with actually the Indianapolis Colts who took him. He actually said the Vikings offered a haul of 3 future first-round picks to go get Richardson. And I'll tell you what, this year's QB class is a whole lot better than last year's class, so I fully expect the Vikings to be making calls and to be making some trade proposals in this upcoming draft. And there's a lot of noise about the Vikings drafting a quarterback, whether it's the Vikings sitting there at number 11th overall and drafting a guy like JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, kind of some of those tier 2 guys, or it's them actually trading up and getting one of the tier 1 prospects in a guy like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, or a guy like Drake Maye. But as it stands right now, if I had to call it, I do think round 1, the Vikings will be picking a quarterback. But let's start off with the main kind of blue chip guy here, and that's Caleb Williams. Listen, I do think it's unlikely that the Bears, if they do decide, let's just say the Bears stay in the camp, or like, hey, we're keeping Justin Fields and we're going to move off Caleb Williams. I do think it's unlikely that they would risk kind of putting Caleb Williams in the division and going up against him 2 times a year. But there's no doubt, Caleb Williams is one of the best QB prospects we have seen since Andrew Luck. Even in his freshman year at Oklahoma, he was great. I mean, 21 touchdowns that season, the 4 interceptions. I mean, he's just fantastic. Killed it at USC under Lincoln Riley. And in my opinion, he, this past season, he wasn't, fantastic by any means, but he wasn't really working with much at USC, and he was still able to put up really good numbers. I mean, the ball just comes off a laser off his arm, and, Caleb Williams is one of those guys where it's like, if the Vikings got him, I could fully say that the Vikings got the QB of the future. Pair him up with Jefferson and Addison, it'd be sweet. But another kind of more realistic option, that's Drake Maye. And listen, the Commanders are slated to pick number 2 overall in this year's class, and then the Patriots at number 3. Maybe this is a situation where the Commanders take Jaden Daniels at number 2, and then the Vikings are looking at the Patriots, and they'll say, hey, we want to go get that number 3 pick and draft Drake Maye, and I'd be all in. I mean, we've heard the comparisons. A lot of guys compare him to Justin Herbert, and I see it, that big 6'5" frame, got a cannon of an arm. I don't think he's as accurate as Herbert is. Listen, I get the comparison, but, I mean, I thought Herbert was a better prospect coming out. But if the Vikings would somehow get their hands on Drake Maye, I mean, it'd be great. Really give a guy that Kevin O'Connell can really groom in this offense. I think it would fit in really well with the bootleg game that KOC loves to run. So if Drake Maye is the quarterback the Vikings draft, I'll be popping a bottle of champagne here on the channel. But Jaden Daniels now, this is, in my opinion, the biggest boomer bust prospect in this year's draft class. And when you have these boomer bust guys like Jaden Daniels, I think it always comes down to what type of support system you offer them. I think the Vikings can offer one of the best ones out there. And in terms of just overall, what is Jaden Daniels and what I like about him? I think the best part about Daniels' game is the leap that he took from years 1 to years 2 when he was at LSU. Completion percentage up, passing yards up, passing touchdowns up, passing yards per attempt up. Overall, the dual threat ability, he produced a whole lot more at LSU in his second year. Big reason why he won the Heisman. I mean, going over for 3,800 yards and running for 1,100 as well. He had a big-time year. Get the argument, he was throwing the 2 first-round wide receivers. But, hey, if the Vikings draft him, he'll be throwing the 2 first-round receivers as well, in Jefferson and Addison. But those are the big 3 names that I do think the Vikings could trade up and go get a quarterback. I want to ask you guys a question. Pick a quarterback for me. Caleb Williams type CW, Drake Maye type DM, and Jaden Daniels type JD. And keep in mind when you're answering this question, you would have to trade up the number 1 for Williams, either 2 or 3 for Drake Maye, and probably like 2 through 5 for Jaden Daniels. So keep that in mind when you're asking or when you're answering this question of picking a quarterback. But my take on this is I don't think you need to trade up to get your guy if you're the Minnesota Vikings. Because, listen, it would be a risky move. Trading all that future draft capital and really sending it all in to go get a guy in the top half of this draft. And, listen, those 3 guys that we just talked about are all blue-chip guys. I would have a lot more faith in them working out than other guys in this class. But, again, I come back to this guy, JJ McCarthy, right now. And, listen, I understand, and, listen, I went to high school with JJ McCarthy, so maybe I'm a little biased towards him. But the intangibles with JJ, he won in high school, won 2 state championships. He won, obviously, at the University of Michigan. And I just think he is just an overall just a winner, and he's been like that throughout his career, even dating back to high school. But I like this kind of graphic that you guys see on screen right now, just showing his advanced stats. He's absolutely deadly in the short yardage game, in the yards 0 through 9, extremely accurate quarterback. But he's not as bad as you would think as pushing the ball downfield. 25 of 46 completion compared to attempts, throwing for 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, over 700 yards in 2023. And the thing I love most about JJ is when the big-time moments and the biggest games come around, he is making plays. And also one of the things I love about JJ McCarthy is if the Vikings drafted him at 11th overall, the Instagram comments are not going to like it. You're going to go on your phone. You're going to look at the Twitter replies. You'll be like, how did we take this guy, JJ McCarthy? He only threw for just over 100 yards in the national championship game, and it's just going to put even a bigger chip on that kid's shoulder. So I think it's kind of good that, maybe the Instagram comments, the Twitter replies won't be the biggest fans of JJ, but I certainly will be. And Mel Kiper just dropped his latest big board, and JJ McCarthy actually skyrocketed up to 23rd overall, and this is what he had to say. McCarthy has first-round arm talent and can beat defenses with his legs, too. He ranked 3rd in the country in total QBR at 89.2 and a completion percentage of 72.3 in 2023. Since he took over as the Wolverine starter in 2022, he has thrown for 44 touchdowns and just 9 interceptions. And 5 of those interceptions have came in 2 games. However, he threw 3 against Bowling Green earlier in 2023 and had 2 pick sixes in the college football playoff semifinal loss to TCU. Outside of those 2 games, he has managed games effectively and made great decisions with the football. And I totally agree. That's why I like JJ McCarthy. Again, if you would put him in this system in Minnesota, I really do think he could flourish because he doesn't have the over-the-top kind of attributes that you would want as a guy you're taking in the top 5, but in terms of intangibles and just overall just being a winner, I think JJ checks all those boxes. And coming up just around the corner, I actually do have an update for you guys around Kirk Cousins. We actually got a report that he is ahead of schedule during his rehab process. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to tell you guys about this sweet deal we have going on at our proud sponsor, Fanatics. And if you guys head to chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie, you guys can get one of these hoodies for 50% off. It's chilly up there in Minnesota right now. January, February, it's going to stay cold. So if you guys want to still support your Vikings, rock the purple and gold a little more, make sure you guys use this link, chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie, because I like you guys so much. I'm going to put that link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. This one's pretty sweet. I love rocking Vikings gear. So if you guys want to as well, make sure you guys use that link, chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. One more time, link for that will be in the comment section and description of today's show. Get hooked up today. But this is what Kirk Cousins, he was asked about when he plans on returning, and this was what he said. My expectation is that I'll be able to practice during OTAs as normal, but the question will be, is it worth it? And so you have to weigh that in a little bit. But my goal would be that I'm saying I can go, and you guys are going to have to stop me because I feel that good. Love to hear it. Carried on to say this. If I'm not allowed into the full team drills, I know I can do basically a full speed practice on the field next to it. It is pretty much my goal. But 7-on-7, there's nobody around you. It's a safe drill. So at minimum, I would think that's a drill that as a pocket passing quarterback would be very doable. And that's kind of the beauty of an Achilles injury. Kind of funny that he says that. Beauty of an Achilles injury is that you can get back and you can get going again in a way that isn't as crippling as if it was a back injury or something that's a little more critical, like your shoulder and elbow. And I've loved Kirk just kind of taking a little optimistic view of him tearing his Achilles. And listen, it gets me back to this point that I've said multiple times here on the channel. My ideal outcome for the Vikings this offseason with the quarterback position is that you do bring back Kirk Cousins on a 2-year deal, but then you also draft a quarterback. I hate giving love to the Green Bay Packers, but they did it again with another franchise quarterback in Jordan Love, and I really think I think as fans we undervalue like quarterback sitting for a year, because obviously when we draft a quarterback, it's kind of like having that new shiny toy that you just got for Christmas. And I think it will honestly benefit a team. You just kind of put it in the closet for a couple of years and let it just develop and kind of take in all the information of just, day to day of being a quarterback. That's what the Packers did. And that's why they have another franchise QB in Jordan Love. And also this point, Kirk wants to be in Minnesota. Like, there is no doubt that Kirk Cousins, if you asked him right now, where do you want to play football, it is with the Minnesota Vikings. We obviously know, if you guys watch the quarterback documentary on Netflix, he's one of the biggest family guys out there. I'm sure he doesn't want to, uplift and move his family again. They seem comfortable in Minnesota. He's got that sweet house with that massive backyard there. I think he wants to be here. That's why I've also said this. I think Kirk would take a 2-year, $50 million deal fully guaranteed. Give him $25 per year. He would also have money coming in from endorsements and which not. He's also made a ton of money throughout his NFL career. That's the deal I would offer him, and I really do think Kirk would take it. So that's why I think as of right now, if I had to answer this question, who would be QB1 for the Vikings next season? I think it's going to be Kirk Cousins week 1. But again, I just don't know. Maybe another team offers him $40 million a year, and the Vikings don't want to meet that number. Still up in the air, but as of right now, I do think it's going to be Kirk suiting up in the purple and gold as QB1. And guys, that's why you guys got to make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Lots of rumors around this QB position. We'll have videos coming out this weekend. So make sure you guys hit that sub button. Stay tuned, and see you guys next time. Skol Vikes.